Good day, I'm Gary Franchi, Next News Network, Chief White House Correspondent, delivering the latest White House news in the past 24 hours. In partnership with our streaming partner, Trump Daily Post, today's White House story is a multi-front governing push. President Trump has formally moved to lock in Todd Blanche as his choice for Attorney General. House Republicans are advancing major immigration enforcement funding, and the administration is also pushing back through legal and policy fights tied to immigration, Iran, and artificial intelligence. And according to the daily guidance, the president returned to the White House overnight. Began this morning with executive time close to the press. The First Lady was scheduled for the Presidential Artificial Intelligence Challenge National Champion Award ceremony in the East Room at 11 a.m. The president has three closed Oval Office policy meetings this afternoon, 2:30, and 5:30 p.m. The White House press corps also tracking a possible Tom Homan gaggle this morning near the Northwest Gate. So anticipate some news on that, with the border czar spotted in the area as reporters gathered at the secondary stakeout position. Now, if that develops, it would fit squarely into the administration's broader immigration enforcement message that's happening today. And on the substance, the White House has formally sent Todd Blanche of Florida to the Senate as President Trump's nominee for Attorney General. That sets up the next major confirmation fight at the Justice Department, with the administration clearly signaling that law and order, leadership, and direct accountability at DOJ remain a top Trump priority. House Republicans are also moving a nearly $70 billion immigration enforcement package aimed at funding ICE and Border Patrol through the rest of the term of President Trump. If passed, that gives the administration long-range resources to continue its border security and deportation agenda, with far less coverage left for Democrats to delay or dilute enforcement. In a related move, the Justice Department announced denaturalization actions against 17 naturalized citizens accused of serious offenses, including, well, certain things you just can't even imagine that involve children, financial fraud, as well as an unlawful drug distribution. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said that the department will work around the clock to ensure American citizenship is reserved for those who obtained it lawfully and deserve it. The administration also took a court hit on one part of its immigration agenda after a federal judge struck down the president's $100,000 fee on new H-1B visas. The White House position is that that ruling should be reversed on appeal, creating a clear split between immigration actions moving through Congress and executive actions now being challenged in the court. On foreign policy, President Trump is projecting pressure and restraint at the same time on Iran and Israel. The White House line, as laid out in the past day's reporting, is that the president is warning against deeper escalation while telling supporters that the United States is pushing towards total victory, an outcome that blocks Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. AI policy is also back at the center of the West Wing agenda. The First Lady's East Room event underscores the administration's efforts to put innovation, cybersecurity, child safety, and national standards for AI under one stronger federal approach rather than along a patchwork of competing state rules. We also have, from the Pool reports, the president's travel to New York. That began on Monday evening with the presidential pool that was moving ahead before President Trump. They departed Jersey around 7:02 p.m. They arrived at Wall Street landing zone 7:19. It rolled toward Madison Square Garden at 7:24 yesterday. The motorcade reached Madison Square Garden last night, 7:38 p.m., and the poolers reported mixed reactions along the route, including some anti-Trump signs and gestures, the sort of city optics that often come with any high-profile New York presidential movement. Inside the president's suite, the pool identified a notable mix of administration officials, allies, and family members, including EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, Deputy Chief of Staff Dan Scavino, Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, Ambassador Steve Witkoff, and Kai Trump, along with Knicks owner James Donlan, as well as others. Now, for the game, the pool reported loud boos when President Trump appeared on the Jumbotron during the national anthem, followed by cheers when the camera turned to Knicks star Jalen Brunson. And it was a visible reminder the president remains a central figure even in non-political settings. However, there was chance of USA erupting as well. So don't let the White House pool reports fool you. The Pool also reported NBA Commissioner Adam Silver meeting with President Trump in the suite alongside New York Republican Bruce Blakeman. In a lighter detail, Poolers noted the president with French fries and what appeared to be a Diet Coke bottle brought into the venue. Later in the night, the Pool departed about 11:05 p.m. while the president remained in the suite, and the Spurs held a late lead over the Knicks. The return trip then unfolded in sequence. The motorcade rolled from MSG at 11:35 p.m. last night, arriving at the landing zone around 11:47. Marine One lifted at 11:59 for JFK. Air Force One landed at Joint Base Andrews really late, 1:28 a.m., very early this morning, and the president deplaned at 1:52. Quite a short jump. The motorcade rolled again at 1:56, returned to the White House at 2:16 a.m. Pool reporters also noted an overnight press exchange at JFK, a signed poster board for Secretary Burgum, and that the White House arrival used the north side because of UFC setup activity on the ground. The overnight travel lid was called at 2:22 a.m., closing out the president's New York trip. And one final legal and optics note from the broader White House picture: a lawsuit is trying to block the planned UFC Freedom 250 event on the South Lawn ahead of June 14th, while the White House is dismissing that challenge as obstructionist and baseless. So that's the White House rundown for the last 24 hours. President Trump is pressing forward on DOJ leadership, immigration enforcement, AI policy, and foreign policy messaging, while keeping a full closed-door schedule back at the White House after a late return from New York. And with that, we turn to the rest of the news.